AMD stock is getting a lot of investor interest because it's participating in arguably the fastest growing segment of the artificial intelligence market. AMD's market share in the data centers optimized for artificial intelligence continues to increase as the company continues innovating, adding new hardware and software capabilities that's increasing purchases from large cloud service providers like Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet. Investors want to know, where could AMD stock price be in a couple of years? More specifically, in this video, I'm going to answer where I think AMD stock price will be by the end of 2027. I'm going to share with you the numbers and estimates and models I'm using to make this prediction so you can follow along and see for yourself if the numbers I'm using are too optimistic, too pessimistic, or right on point. You can comment in the video section below and let me know what you think. If you think my prediction is too high, too low, or if you think it's accurate. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Before we get into the details of the price prediction, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Fiscal.ai. They are a financial services data aggregator, and they provide me with a lot of the data that I utilize to make my stock price predictions and stock price analysis. They saved me a tremendous amount of time by aggregating all of this financial information from thousands and thousands of companies worldwide. If you use the link in my description and join their services, you get a discount and you get a free trial to try their services before making the purchase. They share with you cool information like what I'm showing on screen right here, earnings per share estimates for companies like AMD. For example, in this video, I'm going to use the company's December 2027 earnings per share estimate here, $7.43, according to the Wall Street analysts that are following AMD stock. You can also get cool charts like the price to earnings ratio, which I use for my valuation segment of my financial analysis. And as of this recording, AMD is trading at a price to earnings of 101. This is the trailing 12-month price to earnings ratio. You can also get forward price to earnings ratios. You can get various price to earnings ratios and other valuation metrics using the Fiscal.ai platform. Now that we have the inputs we need, let me share with you my price prediction model and the several scenarios I forecasted for AMD. On the left-hand side here, you see the $7.43. That's the earnings per share estimate for 2027 I retrieved from Fiscal.ai. Also, you notice the price to earnings ratio of 101, also retrieved from Fiscal.ai. Now, if AMD's earnings per share remains on track to hit $7.43 and the price to earnings remains at 101, the stock price could soar to $750 by the end of 2027. Now, I don't think that scenario is very likely. In fact, I think AMD's price to earnings ratio will likely decline over these next few years. The reason the stock is trading at an elevated price to earnings ratio right now is because the expectations for earnings growth over these next couple of years are really, really strong. It's not going to be that way when we approach 2027. Let me share with you the earnings per share forecasts again. So the analysts on Wall Street expect AMD to deliver $3.90 in earnings per share for 2025, and then they expect those earnings to soar to over $6 per share in 2026. That's an over 50% increase in earnings per share, and then they expect another roughly 25% increase to $7.43 in 2027. So these are robust earnings per share growth forecasts for AMD over these next couple of years, with the earnings per share expected to double in a short amount of time. Now, the analysts on Wall Street are not likely to make those forecasts for AMD between 2027 and 2030. Those rates of increase are likely to slow down. And the reason being is the rates of investments in these data centers optimized for artificial intelligence are likely to slow down starting in 2028. Now I'm forecasting, and the industry is forecasting, huge increases over these next 2 years, and that's baked into AMD's phenomenal earnings growth expectations in that amount of time. AMD is not expected to gain any considerable market share in that data center optimized for AI, but the overall market itself is likely to increase, and AMD is likely to at least maintain its relatively small market share. NVIDIA has an estimated 80 to 90% market share in this category, and most industry experts expect that to be the same. AMD is only gaining some market share because the large cloud service providers don't want to give NVIDIA a monopoly in the industry. They don't want to go to NVIDIA for all of their needs. That would give NVIDIA too much power, too much pricing power, too much negotiating power. So these large cloud service providers give AMD a small fraction of their sales to boost NVIDIA, give them increasing budgets for increased research and development and increased innovation, just in case, and as well as the fact that these large cloud service providers are creating and developing their own in-house chips. And these are all just risk mitigation strategies because NVIDIA clearly has the best product when considering the hardware and software components. NVIDIA is clearly the leader, and participants are jumping over themselves to get their hands on NVIDIA's products. So if AMD's price to earnings ratio declines to 60, and we keep the earnings per share constant, the share price could still rise meaningfully to $445 per share. If the price to earnings falls to 40, the stock price could rise to $297, and if the price to earnings falls to 30, the stock price could still rise, but to $223 per share. As you noticed, all of the scenarios I'm forecasting here have AMD stock price increasing over these next 2 years, and I think that's the most likely outcome. I think AMD stock price is more likely to increase over these next 2 years than decrease. In fact, significantly more likely to increase rather than decrease. The question remains, how much do I think AMD stock price will increase? So by the end of 2027, I expect NVIDIA's share price to be between $230 per share and $260 per share. That would be a considerable improvement from the current market price of $168 per share. Now you could see I updated my 2027 price target for AMD stock at $230 to $260 per share by the end of 2027, and I made that update today, August 28th. I also took the opportunity, given the upside in AMD stock over these next 2 years, to update my buy recommendation for AMD. I also cover companies over 200 companies actually, where I keep a buy, hold, or sell rating, as well as price targets for many of the ones that I have buy or sell ratings. AMD is one of them I've been following for several years. So I updated my buy recommendation for AMD stock. You can get access to these spreadsheets that include my buy or sell recommendations and my price targets for all of these companies. And you can get those with the channel membership at the investor tier or above. And then once you join as a member, go to my YouTube membership benefits section and you'll see the links to these spreadsheets for you available. You also get access to my discounted cash flow valuation models with the channel membership at the investor tier. There's over 200 of these as well. You can just click on the company here from the link and it takes you straight to my discounted cash flow valuation for several hundred companies, Macy's being one of them that I've included here. So you get this in addition to the stock buy or sell ratings and the price targets, and I think it's a great value for all investors. Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I know there's a lot you could be doing with your time and a lot of other videos you could be watching. So I truly appreciate that you chose to watch this one. If you want to see more videos just like this, hit the subscribe or the like button. They'll both help me make more videos just like this one. Thank you again.